Social scientists have taught us that what you pay attention to, you get more of. The mere act of inviting key stakeholders to reflect on their experiences and report on them is an engagement and intervention strategy that increases the probability you and they will experience more positive results. So measure what's important to you and commit to doing something based on what you learn. Of course, there are many good reasons to assess, including getting a more accurate and complete picture of present realities compared to a desired state, engaging stakeholders in sharing their wisdom, building a shared vision, strategy, and tactics, benchmarking best practices inside and outside an organization, identifying vulnerabilities and support that's needed, learning, developing, and course correcting along the way as realities and conditions stabilize and change. Most traditional assessments are unidirectional, meaning they measure a single value, competency, or desired result on a single direction continuum. At best, single direction assessments can unintentionally distort a performance picture, and at worst, they can report misleading results that could be damaging to leaders and an organization. Let's take a closer look at how this happens using the example of two leaders we'll call Tom Tight and Larry Luce. Here is a traditional unidirectional assessment asking the rater to score Tom Tight and Larry Luce on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 representing rigid to 5 representing flexible. So what kind of rating is Tom Tight likely to get? Yeah, with a name like Tom Tight, he's probably been called rigid before. And what kind of a rating is Larry Luce likely to get? You guessed right. He's happy to hear from his coach that folks report he's flexible. So Larry is pleased with his results, and Tom is likely struggling with feelings of defensiveness. But is this result necessarily accurate? Tom Tight's problem is seen as him being rigid, with the solution being his need to learn how to be more flexible. But is there more? Is there an upside associated with Tom Tight's tightness? And is there a downside associated with Larry's flexible style? Let's look at another single direction assessment item. Here, we're asked to rate Larry on a 5-point scale, with 1 being ambiguous and 5 being clear. So, Larry Luce, experienced by others as ambiguous, doesn't come out so well in this example. But Tom Tight, who is rated as being clear, is feeling better about himself. But is this result accurate? Is there a downside associated with Tom's clarity? And is there an upside associated with Larry's looseness? While this simple example is meant to highlight the obvious, real assessments containing unidirectional questions that fail to explicitly show how the upsides and downsides of both competencies create virtuous and vicious cycles are not so obvious for either the coaches or the leaders to see and appreciate, let alone respond effectively to. Now let's look at a better but still not great assessment. In this example, both of the interdependent competencies are present somewhere in the instrument. 2 items, one from rigid to flexible and another from ambiguous to clear, are measured. However, the dynamic interplay between these competencies, how one supports the other, is not addressed. Overlooking this dynamic relationship puts serious limitations on the potential for insight and resulting behavioral changes. How? Because to the extent that I value and favor being clear, I have equal and powerful fears and strategies to avoid being seen as ambiguous, which keep me from being more flexible. If I don't develop insight about this, I will not be able to just power my way through to being a more flexible leader. Furthermore, unidirectional assessments impose artificial limits on how clear I can be before I find myself experienced as rigid. The revolutionary polarity assessment shows quite explicitly how I get to be as clear as I like and need to be if I can access flexibility along with it. How an authentic focus on both clarity and flexibility keeps me from being either rigid or ambiguous. And this is how a polarity assessment can make all the difference in terms of a leader's insight and actions. Our revolutionary PACT assessment has some stunning differentiators. Polarity awareness drives insights that can help you predict your future challenges and opportunities. How? Well, polarity cycles act the same way all the time, every time. This fact allows you to develop and execute proactive strategies to optimize upsides and minimize downsides, making you more agile and adaptable to changing conditions inside and outside your organization. Assess off the shelf polarities containing wisdom from outside your organization. Modify maps to blend outside expertise with inside expertise to make an assessment a better fit for you, or completely customize your assessment to reflect your strategy, your culture. Assess the few key polarities that impact each and all of your highest priority objectives. Operationalize what success looks like. Using a polarity based assessment in a 360 feedback process results in a better coaching experience and a more executable development plan. Polarity assessments increase leader and organization effectiveness and ensure you keep your eye on more of your whole reality, engage more stakeholders in your efforts, and ultimately sustain success. Remember our Singapore Airlines example. Their dual strategy approach served to make them a leader in their industry and maintain that leadership position in spite of a rapidly changing marketplace with increasing complexity and competition. Our best in class training materials and user friendly tools support you in making this assessment process yours. Reduce your reliance on outside consultants. Create and administer your own assessments. The polarity assessment's superior value is cost effective. Pay less than you are paying for other assessments and get far more.